to order. First topic of business tonight will be pledge of allegiance. If everybody would join us tonight, please. If you don't mind, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this point, we'll do a, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, first up is our agenda approval for this evening. I'll need to add a 6F, and that'll be closed session for attorney-client privilege in regards to potential property acquisition. Any other changes, additions, or alterations, Colonel?
Yes, Chairman. Item 6G, property disposal, same topic.
Closed session?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Board, any additional discussion or any other changes need to be made? So that'll be adding 6F closed and 6G closed, both in regards to property, and that'll push the adjournment, adjournment will stay as number 7 then. All right. This time I will make a motion that we approve the agenda as altered.
Okay.
Motion by Vice Chairman Hensley. Any discussion?
You go make a motion.
I did. I said second by Vice Chairman Hensley, did I not?
Said motion.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry. Motion by me, second by Vice Chairman Hensley. My brain said that, I guess my mouth didn't. I apologize. Thank you for correcting me. All right, so we've got a motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, we have an agenda. So first item on the agenda beyond the agenda approval now is consent agenda. That includes some tax refunds and releases, our fiscal year 25-26 Forest Service contract, resolution altering the regular meeting schedule for the Madison County Board of Commissioners, and just for clarification for those watching online or watching at home online or anybody here in the room, the last 3 meetings of this year will be in our new temporary courthouse. So we will move from this location over to the new temporary courthouse, and we'll be back into some semi-normal digs over there. 2D is a Golden Leaf Foundation grant closeout authorization for the Madison County Industrial Park. E, resolution authorizing opioid settlements and funds agreement. F is county surplus property resolution, and G is the approval of our August 12th regular meeting minutes and August 26th special meeting minutes. This time I'll entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garrison, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wyatt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, consent agenda passes. Up next on the agenda tonight is public comment. We've got 5 people signed up for public comment. First up is Cassie Flieger. Cassie, please come on up to the podium here, and please state your name and what community you live in, and you've got 3 minutes in to address the board.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Is it? Oh, okay, it is working.
You're good. You're hot.
It's so tiny. I'm Cassie Flager. I live on Bailey Street in Mars Hill, and coming tonight for this kiddo, who is a student, second grader at Marcel Elementary School. Damon, come say hi. Come say hi. Okay. So I'm just here tonight to celebrate some of the achievements that we've had in the Madison County schools. We've had good ratings, good scores on those state reviews, and that was super exciting to hear that from Mr. Hoffman. But I'm also concerned about the budget for schools. You know, 100,000, or what was it, like 1/7 of the funding that was asked for was what was approved. And so we have a request of 838,000, and without requested increases, that we've lost like a significant amount of money to support the schools for the Exceptional Children Program, and then also for you know, all the inflationary stuff for staff. I know that for myself, we have probably the best second grade teacher in the county. She's amazing. And like, I know that she has spent a ton of money out of her own pocket for very basic things. As a mom, I'm happy to do that and to support in every way that I can, but I also like to do that with my taxes, so that it's across the board and it's reaching into every child in our school system. So I'm just nervous about this and worried about it for his future. You know, I want him to be in Madison County schools. I grew up in Buncombe County schools. I like what we have to offer here, and we have a great elementary school. But I'm concerned about the funding and really want us to look further, see if there's anything in the coffers that can help supplement that very big difference in the budget. And essentially that's it. But please invest in our kiddos.
Thank you. Up next on the sign-up sheet is Alshear. Hey, Will, come on up. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Will Alsher, and I live in Mars Hill, kind of close to Town Hall. I am also a parent in Madison County. I have 2 kids, they're 9 and 10, they go to Mars Hill Elementary. And we really enjoy all the things Madison County provides for kids 4-H. My oldest kid does Girls on the Run. Both of them are in Arts Club, and they just enjoy everything that they get to do with their friends and all the wonderful teachers we have. You know, and you know, I could speak for a lot of parents who are probably tired and busy to come, you know, try to speak for the concerns that we all have when we hear about such a large shortfall in the education budget, you know, especially when it was brought, you know, to you guys' attention back in April. In many instances, a lot of people would have, you know, quite a hard time trying to, you know, explain those kind of shortfalls that they would have. And, you know, it would be nice to get answers on that, but I can understand the complexity of explaining those things to every parent in Madison County. But I do want to come here and speak for all the concerned parents when, you know, we say that we really enjoy having a place for our kids to be safe at, but how are we supposed to feel with these kind of shortfalls and no way to really get solid answers on where this money may come from? Like, how are we gonna make up this shortfall? Is there not enough in the county reserves? You know, how are we gonna actually have to, you know, fill these things? You know, you can imagine that can create some nervousness in the community when information like that is there. You know, I won't get specific on the numbers. I'm pretty sure everyone knows the numbers, what was approved, what was asked for, and all that good stuff. You know, and if Madison County doesn't address that shortfall, we worry that possible cuts in staff, you know, could really maybe harm the future of what we can offer future generations of children. You know, and you know, as parents, that's a scary thought. You know, I'm pretty sure not everyone here has kids, you know, having to worry about their future, how it's gonna be funded, and what we can do to make that better and stable. You know, it would be nice. Appreciate you guys hearing me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Up next, I'm afraid I'm gonna butcher the first name, Sho Landis. I know I didn't pronounce that right, did I? All right.
My name is Chio Landis.
I was close, I was, all right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Hope everyone here is enjoying this cool late summer weather, finally getting into the back to school routine for a good start to this school year, and getting ready for the opening of deer season this weekend like I am. Living and growing up in Madison County is truly a blessing that only a few people in this world get to experience. Some discover the jewel of the Blue Ridge later in life and are still lucky enough to join our community, call it their home, and be a part of our communities. If you're like me, the word community is what makes Madison County so special. Our communities are our glue, the network that holds us together during the best of times and the worst of times. 1 week after graduating from Madison High School in 2011 with honors, I left my community and moved to Northwest Georgia and attended Berry College on a full-ride working scholarship. The college's 27,000-acre campus was home to an enormous deer population, boasting 7 deer to every 1 student. Now that's a whole lot of deer. I quickly felt like a tiny fish in a vast ocean as I was suddenly taken from my element and transported into a new world and life entirely. I met my peers from across the country and across the world. My first roommate was an exchange student from Indonesia. Adjusting to college life on a somewhat rural feeling campus, while at first seemed like the most daunting challenge of all, I soon learned it was the least of my worries. Having graduated Madison High School with honors, transferable credits, and multiple AV Tech classes, I thought the transition into college academia would be difficult, but what I experienced was a true eye-opener about my roots and where I came from. I was behind. I felt that my previous academic achievements were small potatoes compared to that of my classmates, many of whom were from the suburbs of Atlanta, from California, and places I'd never heard of. Some students had attended private school, others public school, but few seemed to have come from poor rural communities like I did. To say that I struggled academically would be an understatement. I had not been taught how to study, I had no internet growing up, and suddenly I had the world at my fingertips constantly. I had not been taught to have time management. I did not know that you needed to read chapters from the textbook before going to class or you would be behind. After tutoring, summer classes, and changing my major, I surprised even myself by graduating on time with a degree in business marketing from a nationally accredited business school. I was able to learn from experts with experiences all around the world, creating an experience that is mine for a lifetime. I say all this to say that even as one of Madison County's honor students, I was still at a huge disadvantage when it came to academia in the real world. Because of my love and appreciation for my community and the beautiful landscape that surrounds it, I chose to return to Madison County to bring my experiences and what I had learned back to help support and grow where I call home. Now, as a parent of children in Madison County Public Schools, I am deeply concerned about the lack of funding that the Madison County Commissioners have allocated for our public schools this year. It seems to have been clearly communicated from leadership within the county schools that there was an urgent need for increased funding to sustain essential programs, operations, and support systems that the students and teachers.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear, I was listening.
You're so engaging.
I'll come back next time for the other half.
All right, thanks, thanks, Ms. Landis. Up next is Graham Frelick. Am I pronouncing that correct?
It's close, grain rhymes with name.
Grain, sorry.
But that's fine, I'll respond to most anything.
All right, I understand.
I live in South Marshall, and I'm just real happy to hear parents talk about the schools and school budget, because I'm one of many citizens who are proud of the quality of education provided by Madison County Schools to our
That's a
children.
microphone that your paper's bouncing off of.
Thank you for guiding me on that. So, and I'm deeply committed as a parent, grandparent, and an educator In fact, I go to all the Board of Education meetings, and I'm amazed at the spirit and the teamwork that both the staff and the teachers and the principals have shown. Last meeting, there was just lots of enthusiasm about the start of the school year, but the deep concern around the quality may suffer if we don't get enough funding. So in April of this year, the Madison County Board of Education approved a local budget and submitted it to you, the commissioners. And for the first time in 2 years, there was a request of $838,447 to overcome funding hurdles. This was a reasonable request following a year with no requested increases that led to much belt tightening. It included $250,000 to offset the yearly shortfall in funding to the Exceptional Children's Program due to the state allotments being far short of what's needed in Madison County, and almost $590,588 to support deficits caused by inflationary costs related to staff benefits and to increasing numbers of students enrolling in private schools through the Opportunity Scholarship. Last year, the county lost $90,000 due to this scholarship program. These are fixed costs. So the question is, if we don't get money from the county, where is that money going to come from? And with only providing $101,700, just 12% of the request, that means there's still a shortfall of $737,000. Now, that may not seem like a lot of money to some, but it's a lot of money to the school system, something that they really, really need. Isn't there enough money in the reserves to be able to cover this? You know, a budget is a projection, so it's a commitment. Even if you don't have all the funds in hand now, at least you can show commitment to the school system by funding the full request, which was done, I think, in a very reasonable way. So, you know, we really worry about what might these cuts be and what is it going to do for the future of our children. Our children are our future, and we need to invest in them. And I'm counting on you to reconsider the small amount of money that you provided in response to the request. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fraley. And our final individual signed up this evening is Sarah Scully.
Hey, my name is Sarah Scully. You may recognize me as your friendly neighborhood reporter. I volunteer as a multimedia journalist for WNC Grassroots Media, which is a nonprofit started up after Helene. But I also wear other hats. I'm an Army veteran, so I'm the public affairs officer for the Marshall American Legion. And I am on the communications committee for MARC, which is the Madison Alliance for Rebuilding Communities, our long-term recovery group for Madison County. So, with all of that, I'm on a subcommittee for our 1-year anniversary of Helene. And Connie has asked me to give you a little bit of what we're thinking about doing. We have another meeting tomorrow, but here is our flyer that's going to be coming up. The theme is community and connection. We have the mayor speaking at noon at the courthouse steps that Saturday, followed by a senior from each of the high schools, MEX and NHS, and then a couple more community leaders with some music that will then bring us back to the brick project, the Building Community Brick Project at the Old Marshall Jail. The National Historic Preservation Society has given a grant to Josh Kopis, and they are going to be doing individual clay bricks to build an 8x8 structure that is like an art piece in homage to Helene. Every building or business that is able to be open is hosting something of their own. So the one on the courthouse steps is what is going to bring everybody together and then disperse out to as many fundraisers or bands, food, and I think there's a vendor's market. Is that what it is? Yeah. And y'all have any questions or anything? No?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Scully. All right. This time I'll entertain a motion that public comment be closed, as that includes all of the signed up speakers.
So moved.
Garrison? Oh, that was you, okay. So we've got a motion by Vice Chairman Hensley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Was that Garrison? I got it. I'm stopped up. I can't hear good right now. My bad, guys. All right, so that was Garrison with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? All right. Public comment is closed. At this time, we'll move on to item number 4, which is our Constitution Week proclamation. And we have Constitution Week 2025 proclamation, whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Matthew Wechtel, as Chairman of the Madison County Board of Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Commissioner for North Carolina of Madison County, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian for our liberties. So in witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of Madison County to be affixed this 9th day of September 2025, in the year of our Lord, this 9th day of September in the year of our Lord 2025. At this time, I'll make that in the form of a motion that we approve the proclamation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman Hensley. Thanks for making that easy on me. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, proclamation has passed. I don't have one of those extra loud pens that I can sign it with like the President does, but we'll make it work out here after the meeting. All right. Up next on the agenda tonight is Finance Officer Carrie Ledford with, come on up, Madam Finance Officer.
Sir.
And first topic of discussion is budget amendment number 2.
Yes, sir. So before you find budget amendment number 2, with this amendment, please note the recording of donations to the Sheriff's Office Outreach Program in the amount of $9,800. Find the moving of funds in the Emergency Management, 911, and Animal Shelter salary lines for various reasons, including adding funds to the temporary salary line for on-call emergency management personnel. We've received 4 additional payments toward the opioid settlement fund for a total of $144,562.87 addition. Once again, we're transferring funds from our fund balance. These funds were received in FY25 as insurance payments for the Hot Springs Library and for the sale of capital land. Also see the recording of additional revenue generated by the quarter cent sales tax in amount of $63,304.88. And all of these amendments are pending your approval.
This time I'll entertain a motion that we approve budget amendment number 2.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wyatt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman Hensley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, budget amendment number 2 passes. And up next is 5B, our financial report.
Yes, sir. You will see that we are 16.66% way into FY26 budget year. You'll see for our general fund, we've received 8.67% of our revenues, and our expenses are at 14.92%.
Tax bills went out, so hopefully we'll see an improvement there.
Let's hope so, yes,
All
sir.
right. Any questions in regards to the financial report of the finance officer? I think you're off the hook for tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, ma'am. Up next, and I know she's freezing cold tonight because it's pretty chilly in here. Yeah. Carrie is probably the most warm-blooded person you'll ever see, I guess. I guess that's how it is, warm-blooded, right? All right, up next on the agenda is item number 6, County Manager, Colonel Rod Honeycutt.
Hi, Joe, I'm gonna start on the bubble gum chart on the top left. The very top left corner, 18 FEMA worksheets. 6 have been closed, 2 are pending, and 9 of the county and 1 with FEMA. Draw attention to 3 and 5. Attorney Laws approved the language this week for the Benoit contract for an additional addenda item for work safety and hours to the Benoit contract. You'll now see that start moving through the FEMA portal. Number 7, Bernard Park. Every angle is on the site there. They're projected to be done in 19 days, that 21-day time frame. Down to number 14, that is now out of the county and into the FEMA portal for a significant amount of money, they're about 1.9 million. No change to the water and personal property debris removal. I do want to bring your attention to a map you have in front of you. That map shows you waterway progress, what's ineligible, no debris present, pending for submission to FEMA, pending FEMA review, in progress, and debris cleared. We continue to host our Monday 3:30 meetings. That includes all FEMA, the SMART Task Force from Western North Carolina, and the FEMA Debris Task Force.
Colonel, are they still paused?
No, they went back in the water about 7 days ago, last Monday.
Okay.
And they were paused for mapping and criteria deliberations, I guess is the best thing to say. FEMA has adjusted their original guidance to now it's critical infrastructure plus or minus 1,000 feet on either side of that infrastructure. The original guidance was anything debris was deemed a hazard. So they've narrowed their scope and they're putting another microscope on what they're doing. They have, the contractor and the SMART team have committed to any waterway or tributary in our smaller tributaries to inform us before they put machines in it, to make sure that we're being good stewards and not overwhelming the environment with some kind of big machine going into it. And right now, Shelton Laurel or the Laurel River has no FEMA approved sites. I'll keep you informed as we go forward as they continue to work that. John, we'll transition onto the back of the map real quick. Just an overview. Hot Springs, 19 FEMA worksheets. They have 8 closed, 0 pending, 11 with Hot Springs and 0 with FEMA. Moving down to Marshall, 23 worksheets, 0 closed, 4 pending, and 15 with FEMA. And why that's important, the very bottom of the chart, 60 countywide projects, 14 FEMA funded, 24 pending county and municipality action, 22 pending FEMA action, total of $87 million. And to date, we've received $2.5 million in the county. That speaks volumes 1 year afterwards. A lot of hard work, but there's still a lot of work to do.
So repeat that number again. So we've got countywide projects is $87,873,547, basically $548 by the time you round up.
Yes, sir.
So.
And on the far right, FEMA has paid out 2.2. All right, go back to the front, a couple of highlights. Temporary courthouse next door, sidewalks are being, concrete's being poured, paving will start next week, and the lines the following week. AV, internet, and furniture is complete. As mentioned earlier, the next commissioner meeting will be in the new facility. Hazard mitigation grant program, these are citizens who have applications to sell their property to the state for mitigation. We've had no progress there since 6 April. The criteria for each of the homes used to be 600,000, is now 300,000. The state has had to go back and look at each one of these homes. As you recall, the last time we had a home in this, it took 5 years. We're now approaching a year with very small progress in that category. Talked regularly to the state and to FEMA. It's just gonna be a slow process. It's not gonna turn out the way as anticipated.
So, for clarification, they could, just make sure I understood you right, they could have previously applied for up to 600,000, but now the cap is gonna be 300,000?
That's the FEMA guidance right now.
Sorry, Colonel, carry on.
All right, moving on to the radio tower upgrade. You have a packet in front of you, special use permit application in support of Hampton and Madison County emergency communication capability. We are still pending a date to present this to the town of Marshall. It's been a very complicated process with a lot of information required to put this forward. What we thought was about a 2-document requirement, that turned into about a 25-document requirement with safety restrictions, engineering restrictions, and we're close. We've got 4 more due outs after a second review, and we will knock those out this week with the vendor Zetron and their radio communications group. So your questions, I'll move to the next one.
Do we have a pending timeline to satisfy the zoning requirements for the town of Marshall and for them to bring before their board?
Their next meeting, they're gonna hold a special meeting for us. Right now, we're in.
If that don't happen, when is their next meeting?
First Monday in October
Thank you.
will be the soonest we can get to them. Covered arena, the soil testing for 144 micropilot are complete. We're pending 2 cost estimates from the vendor. One cost estimate of $1.2 million, exactly what that will purchase in terms of covered arena, sidewalks and lighting, and 175 by 300 foot package. Regardless of the package we pick, it'll be 90 days for construction once they start. We anticipate getting those 2 quotes this week. Spoke to the vendor today. They're waiting some electrical numbers before they can wrap up. 213 water project.
And Colonel, those are including lighting and potential expansion of lanes or something?
Yes, sir.
Sidewalks?
Sidewalks. 2 sidewalks and lighting is in the RFQ that they're bidding on.
What about the issue, if they get that done in 90 days, that the press box isn't going to work?
So phase 2 will bring the press box construction to the light. We know that the press box now is higher than the ceiling, and there's designs in phase 2 to put it at the end of the building on a catwalk. But that'll be part of phase 2, and there's money set aside from TDA for phase 2.
So I'm guessing there's going to be a pretty significant timeline gap between those. We're going to come up in the spring of next year without utilization of that building. We're going to have a temporary press box set up, or what's the game
I
plan?
think once they start work, we can start the phase 2 bidding and almost have it done and ready to move in as soon as they're done. And it won't be that significant as far as the press box. But
Let's
we'll
just
work
watch that. That sounds like a good plan.
simultaneous working both lanes.
We'll manage it, make sure that that's.
213 water project, the Mars Hill portion, which is contract B, 90% of the water line has been installed. The water tank is under construction right now. The pad's on the ground, all the equipment is there. Pump station should be complete in the next 2 weeks. The Marshall part is part A. Water line is 20% complete, and that's 4,000 to 25,000 feet. Pending 2 property acquisitions. One of the property acquisitions, I think, will close this week. The next one the following week, and we'll talk about that a little more in closed session. The good news right now, we're ahead of schedule and under budget for both A and B.
That's good.
Phase 2,
Just to recap, some Marshall's 9% complete, and construction on the tower, water towers commenced, and Marshall's 20% complete.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
The next phase 2, that's talking about the courthouse. We have restarted the courthouse meetings with the stakeholders. Tomorrow, or yesterday, we sent out all the programming notes to all the directors. Tomorrow will be a discussion with the directors, and then we will start having meetings with Lenoy to verify the programming as we move forward into the construction and the design element for phase 2. Then I also want to hit real quickly on October the 3rd at 3 o'clock, the county will host Hurricane Helene Recovery Tribute. Right now, Madison County High School, law enforcement officers, public safety officers, the mayor from Mars Hill, the mayor from Mayor Haney, Mayor Norton are participating to give remarks. We will be able to present awards from Congress Edwards' office, the Public Service Safety Committee Board, the Board of Commissioners, and NCACC President's coin some of our members. As we move forward, we will start populating that on social media to make sure we get attendance. And that will be at the fairgrounds before the fairgrounds and the community there starts the fall festival later that evening. Gentlemen, some of your questions, guidance, that concludes my update before we move to the next tab.
No questions?
Okay, we'll transition to tab 6B. County surplus property. County has received one bid in the amount of $3,000 for PIN number 8778-61-9041. That's 4.8 acres, valued at $54,048. Right now, we're asking the board to accept that and to begin the upset bid process.
All right, so at this point, gentlemen, we have three options before us. We can either accept the bid and begin the upset bid process. We can outright deny the bid at this time, or we can make a counter offer. What is the will of this board?
I don't know what was back taxes on that. I tried to look that up.
I don't know off the top of my head, I won't get you that answer.
That's all right. I looked it up and it's a little bit. I don't have enough knowledge of what the terminology was on it to understand it.
Jeremy's looking it up. If we stall long enough, we might have an answer for us.
Yeah, it's gonna just show that,
Because that was paid, that was at the courthouse steps and transferred to us.
well, even looking back like 2017, I was just curious how long we had been trying to tax.
So just a reminder to the board and the public, if we do accept the bid and begin the upset bid process, if we're still not content with the figure we end up with, once the upset bid process is over, we still have the ability to reject at that time.
The property's in a secluded area, Rector Branch, between that and Anderson branches. I'm not sure of the accessibility to it. I don't guess we know that, do we?
You asked me something, I'd say it again, sir.
That's all right. I didn't want to interrupt you. That property's kind of remote looking between Rector Branch and Anderson Branch. Do we know if there's right-of-way accessibility to it, or?
I'll follow up on the tax information and right-of-way information.
I should have asked this before today. I apologize.
Probably a good idea if we had it on here anyway.
Do I?
Probably a good idea to add it anyway on the bottom of these, so there's no question.
So it may be only valuable or useful to adjoining property owner based on accessibility, so you can ask. I move we go ahead and accept this as a tentative bid and start the motion that bid process.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Garrison to accept the bid and begin the upset bid process. And there is a second by Commissioner Wyatt. Any discussion or questions? Bill, you want to ask your question? No. Okay. Any other discussion at this time? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of putting this, of accepting the bid, moving on with the upset bid process? All right, passes.
Going to transition to item 6C, and I'm going to request that the county attorney help me with this one.
I'll be more than happy to. So the HCA settlement agreement was one of the agreements that you approved by consent at last month's meeting. One of the provisions in the settlement agreement was that each of the plaintiffs in that lawsuit, which were Madison County, Buncombe County, the city of Asheville, and the town of Brevard, were entitled to have two people who would receive information that the advisory committee to HCA would be entitled to receive certain confidential information. As background, when HCA purchased the mission system, under the agreement, HCA would receive recommendations from this advisory committee for a certain term of years. And the advisory committee basically passes on to HCA things that they hear in the community, things that would be beneficial to the community at large for HCA to address. Presently, all of that information is confidential between the advisory committee and HCA. As part of the settlement, the local governments wanted at least to have a seat at that table to know what was going on between the advisory committee and HCA. The fear being that they were in cahoots with each other and nothing was really getting presented to HCA that was meaningful. So out of the settlement agreement, the plaintiffs were entitled to have access to that information, so that if the counties needed to address any of those concerns, then they would have the ability to do that. The key to this is that there's a seat at the table, but the confidentiality blanket still covers that information. So what I would recommend would be that this board would appoint two of those people, and it should come from either your membership or your staff, so that we would have control over the confidentiality of that information, as well as to what the substance of it is. You don't necessarily have to do anything with it, but it will give you a seat at the table to know what's going on at HCA. They're required to have the advisory committee meetings at least once a year. You may not have to attend the meetings. You can get the information, you can look at it, and if you think there's something pertinent that needs to be addressed, then you can attend the meetings. Whoever they want to appoint. It can be one of you two. Mr. Honeycutt and I spoke earlier about it. He and I would both be more than happy to sift through that information and share it with you, and we would know that it would maintain its confidentiality.
That'd be my motion.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Garrison that we appoint County Attorney Donnie Laws and County Manager Colonel Rod Honeycutt to be the representatives to that HCA board. And so there was a second by Commissioner Hensley, correct? By Vice Chairman Hensley, sorry. Any discussion?
Appreciate both of you being willing to do it. It's imperative we do continue to have a seat at the table and know what's going on. So and both of you are pretty knowledgeable about the situation. So
Colonel, you sure you got time for this?
We'll make time, sir.
So we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion at this time? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Jim, transition to the last item for open session, item 6D, that's the county board appointments. Jim, the first two are the agriculture advisory boards, and right now we do not have an application for either of those two spots. I recommend that you table this one until we have receipt of applications, and that the soil and water department has had time to reach out and vet applicants.
All right, and those recommendations need to come from the Soil and Water Board of Supervisors, and we're looking specifically for anybody that may be in the room or at home watching online. We need a representative for the Spring Creek Hot Springs region, and they are also in need of a representative for the Shelton Laurel region.
I talked to Maurice McAllister, and he said he'd do it, so I don't see we need another application since he's already on there.
He's already in service and on that appoint, as he's already one of the appointees on that board. So this would just be reappointing him. Are there any restrictions in their bylaws that we need to be aware of?
Yes, what's stated on your form, that the Board of Supervisors needs to make a recommendation.
Okay, so we need that board, so Commissioner Briggs, please reach out to the Soil and Water Board of Supervisors and have Mac reach out to them as well and make sure that they're aware that the bylaws require that the recommendation comes from their board.
Mr. Briggs, I'll see the director tomorrow, and I'll make sure that she's tracking that too.
So at this time then, considering we don't have anyone from the Soil and Water Board of Supervisors to advise, I will move that we table those two positions until we reach a future meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, those two positions are tabled. We currently have a Board of Health. We actually have two Board of Health vacancies. One was created due to the resignation of the MD from the Board of Health. At this time, I will move that we reappoint Dr. Shannon Dowler as the MD on the Madison County Board of Health. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right. That creates a opening as for a citizen for the Board of Health. And this time I'll entertain a motion to fill that citizen slot for the Madison County Board of Health.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Jessica West to that board as a citizen position.
So we have a motion by Vice Chairman Hensley to appoint Jessica West to the Board of Health as a citizen, as in the final remaining citizen slot. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Briggs. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right. Those two spots are taken care of. Next up is Economic Development Advisory Board, appointee Lee McElrath. Commissioner Garrison, you were at the last Economic Development Advisory Board meeting. Do you have, is Lee willing to continue to serve?
He is. He's actually currently chair, and they're making some readjustments with that board as well. We'll see coming up in the days ahead with some additional recommendations for vacancies.
Okay. So at this point, do I take that in the form of a motion?
I do.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Garrison to reappoint Lee McElrath to the Economic Development Advisory Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wyatt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right. Up next is our Mountain Area Workforce Development Board. This position has become vacant, and we have a recommendation from Land and Sky. And that recommendation, I'm sorry, there is not a recommendation from Land and Sky. Basically, that is a seat vacated by Sam Hutchins from French Broad Electric. So at this point, we need someone for the Mountain Area Workforce Development Board, and we do not have any applications for that spot at this time. So at this time, I'll entertain either a motion from the floor to appoint somebody, or standing with our normal policy that we would table that spot until we have an applicant.
Any requirements on that?
No, let's see, to the best of my recollection, it's been a while since I served on that board. To the best of my recollection, they just have to be,
Business sector.
in the business sector in the county. So an employer, essentially an employer in the county. I believe in preferably a non-governmental employer of the county. All right, so at this time, I'll make a motion that be tabled.
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman Hensley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, up next is a vacancy due to resignation due to health issues on the TDA, Tourism Development Advisory Board. At this time, we are seeking legal advice on how to best address that issue. There's some items that we need to clarify in regards to that, so I will move that that position be tabled until a future meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? And our last September board vacancy is a transit rider slot on the Transportation Advisory Board. I know that the Transportation Advisory Board is currently trying to recruit one of their riders to serve on that board. It is a requirement that it be someone who utilizes the transportation system. And at this time, we have not been able to secure a application from any of the transit riders. We're still working through regular riders to try and find somebody that would be willing and capable of serving. So at this time, I will move that position be tabled as well.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wyatt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All righty.
Gentlemen, for your upcoming board vacancies, 2 Economic Development Board vacancies coming up. It's 5 Parks and Rec Board vacancies, 3 Planning Board vacancies, 2 Watershed Review Board vacancies.
And we have 2 Animal Control Board vacancies that we need guidance from that board that are held over from last month.
Gentlemen, if any of your questions and guidance, that completes every item tonight for the open session.
Anybody have anything else before we make a motion to go into closed session? Hearing none, at this time, I will move that we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, A6 for personnel and A4 for land. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wyatt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, this time I entertain a motion that we return to open session.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner White, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman Hensley, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, Colonel, you've got a motion for us?
Yes, sir. Gentleman requested the board approve putting the Sprinkle Shelton building at 15 Bridge Street as surplus property to begin the upset bid process.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garrison, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner White, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Colonel, when will we officially make that public? Because we know that there's some folks interested in that building.
Immediately.
Immediately?
Yes, sir.
All right. So anybody up here, and anybody that's had anyone reach out to them, we need to make sure that they are aware.
Jim, sir, you guys, the question, that's all we have tonight for the open session.
No additional business to come before this board, I'll entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner White, is there a second?
You want me to second?
Second by Commissioner Briggs, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? We stand